All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is July 18th. We got a jam-packed full MLB slate to jump into today. Like we always do, we're gonna go through each and every game. I'll give you my lean or leans on the games, but all my final plays that I'm actually gonna be rolling with, those will be in the pinned comment. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button and hit that like button before we jump into today's video. In terms of last night, second negative night in a row. We end up going 2 and 3. Some things were looking good, some things plummeted, but we go 2 and 3. Our only wins are going to be the Marlins Cardinals over, which hit late, and then we had the Rangers money line, which for plus 113 odds, I'll take the come from behind victory. They end up winning it 3-2. They were down 2-0. Mickey Moniak, one at bat, gets a hit, and I'm like, oh, let's go. First inning or second inning, he gets a hit. Let's cash this one. Nothing for the rest of the game. So shout out to Mickey Mouse there, guys. But 2 and 3 night does not kill us, but we got to be better than that, man. I do not love 2 straight nights of losing because, yeah, I don't like losing. I think that that's pretty fair to say. Before we jump into today's video, guys, I do want to talk to you guys about Outlier, my favorite. And I'm saying my favorite, like it is unmatched right now, the things that Outlier is doing to become the best sports betting research tool out there. They just added some new features yesterday that are soon to come out as well. I've seen some future developments as well. This thing is amazing, guys. If you have not checked out Outlier, you need to do so today. You can do it on the computer. You could do it on your phone. Just use the link in the pinned comment or the description. You get a 7-day free trial. In fact, let's jump in and I can show you guys around the desktop app a little bit. So here is the player prop screen where you can see every player prop that is offered and their alternate lines, right? Every player prop that's offered on the 4 main sportsbooks. Here you can dive in and see what you're looking at. So if all these odds right here from these sportsbooks are way too much for you, you can actually decrease some minimum odds, make it a little bit more understandable here. So William Contreras, right? Over 0.5 singles. He's hit it in 5 straight games. He's hit it in 10 straight games. In 80% of his last 20. Let's click in and diagnose it. You can dig around. Okay, yeah, he's been crushing it. He's hit in 55% of games this season. He's going up against Aaron Nola, who's a right-handed pitcher. You can see William Contreras right here, right? Batting 272 on the season, batting 253 against righties, against Aaron Nola, batting 267, both below his season averager. So maybe that's something you stick away from, right? A lot of good details in this. But say we did like this pick. You can go ahead and hover over here, look at all the odds. Okay, well, FanDuel, the best odds out there. If you did want to go and place this on FanDuel, with one click of the button, it'll pull up a QR code. You can either scan it on your phone or you could head to FanDuel right from this screen and place it there. It goes and puts the bet in your bet slip as well, so you don't have to dig for it. Guys, Outlier is literally the goated app right now. It is amazing. Also for game picks as well. You can go through and see how teams are trending. You can look at the public versus the money, percent bets, percent money, and you can also go in and diagnose this game a little bit more as well, digging in, looking at all the different plays. It really is an amazing app. I would never push something to you guys that I don't use myself, and man, I'm blown away by how much these guys want to drive this to the moon. They're asking me questions, asking me for feedback. So guys, go check out Outlier. Use that link in the description as well as the pinned comment. You will not be disappointed. And for full transparency, after that 7-day free trial, it's $19.99 a month. Still well worth it, but go check it out for at least 7 days. You will not regret that whatsoever. Let's go ahead and look at our ride of the day from yesterday as well, because that hit. Our ride of the day from yesterday is coming in from John. It was Shohei over 1.5 total bases. He cashes this one with ease. He goes deep. I think he had 7 or 8 total bases in the game. I mean, what else is new? Shohei Ohtani cashing, guys. So let's celebrate that one. Cha-ching. Guys, if you do want to be the ride of the day, all you got to use is hashtag ride of the day in the comments. Go ahead and use that hashtag. And I'll be jumping on board with one person's pick in the comments. And if you win, or if you lose, you got a shout out in the next video. We celebrate it if you get the dub. We do have to talk about it if you get the loss, but hey, we're on here talking about our losses whenever we lose, fully transparent on the channel, right? So use hashtag ride of the day in the comments. Let's go ahead and jump into game number 1 in this one. We're looking at Philadelphia taking on Milwaukee here. Philadelphia is coming off of winning 3 of 4, 3 straight, the last 3 against San Diego here. Milwaukee coming off of a series sweep against Cincinnati, and they played Cincinnati in 6 straight games, and they took 5 of those 6, which is kind of crazy. Heron on the mound for Milwaukee today. He's got a 3.64 ERA, a 2-3 record with a 1.02 whip, and Aaron Nola on the mound for the Phils here. He's got a 4.39 ERA, an 8-6 record, and a 1.11 whip. My first lean in this game goes right to the under for a couple reasons here. This Brewers team has been cashing unders left and right. 4 straight games have hit under this mark. The Philadelphia, on the other hand, has been scoring so many runs that, you know, maybe they kind of take it back down to earth here. So I love the combination of the pitchers today. Not necessarily for the fact that these guys are studs, but their whips are super low. I don't expect many base runners today altogether. So I don't think there's going to be a lot of big innings or anything like that. We might chip away at this score, but I don't think it gets to double digits. So that is my first lean in this game, taking a peek at the under. And then in terms of my lean, I'm leaning Milwaukee. Plus 175 over on DraftKings right now. Sure, you could take a peek at them on the run line. That may be the safe move that we go with if we do pull the trigger on this. Even on the run line, they're at minus 110, so still decent value there. But I think this Milwaukee team has a little momentum behind them. They've won 7 of their last 10 games. They've won 6 of their last 7. Yes, it was against, one team predominantly. They only had one other game outside of those 6, outside of those 7. But nonetheless, I think that this Milwaukee team is starting to kind of heat up a little bit here. And this Philadelphia team, they've been playing really well. They are just due for a loss to some degree. So yeah, it could be a psycho alert alarm type pick. That's why we hammered it. But plus 175, I could see some value there. Also, I'm not going to lie to you guys, Philly's at minus 200. Doesn't really tickle my fancy, so I kind of, exclude that from even a possibility pick. So all of a sudden we start kind of dissecting and looking at Milwaukee. So I like the under in this game, but I also could be convinced of Milwaukee either on the run line if we want to play it safe, or go for gold and go for the money line. So keep an eye on the pinned comment to see what we end up rolling with there. All right, next game up, we got Pittsburgh taking on Cleveland. Pittsburgh deserves a little bit of a womp womp from yesterday. They lose 11-0 in that one against Cleveland yesterday to open up this series. Today, Cleveland's actually the underdog in this one at minus 105 over on DK right now. Pirates are minus 110, so essentially a pick 'em. Mitch Keller on the mound for the Pirates here, 3.31 ERA with a 1.12 whip and a 9-4 record. And I think that is the reason why they are favorites today. They're home, they just got whooped, and they have, their best pitcher on the mound. But Logan Allen on the mound for Cleveland, who hasn't been all that bad on the season, definitely letting a lot of runners on base, but still a 3-2 record with a 3.47 ERA. This one's tough. I don't have that much of a confident lean in this game. I almost want to just look at Pittsburgh because I trust Keller in a bounce back spot for them. But is this Pittsburgh team really a bounce back worthy team? So unfortunately, I don't have a side pick that, determined in this game. Again, unfortunately, I hate to do that to you guys, especially in game number 2 of the slate. But I don't mind the under here. An 11-0 game yesterday was lopsided. I don't think Cleveland's going to go out there and do that. Prior to their scoring, 0 runs, 4 runs, 5 runs. I don't think that they even, 5 runs was a stretch for them, in my opinion, as of late going into this series as well. So I don't think Pittsburgh's really going to come with this offensive juice. And if I'm trusting these 2 pitchers on the mound today, I think this one actually ends up being a low scoring game. So snap back to reality. Oop, there goes gravity. I think this one is going to go under. I don't think we're going to see an 11-0 game where one team carries the entire weight. Again, I'm leaning under 8.5 in this one. All right, Baltimore taking on the Dodgers. Yesterday's game went just about as expected, but 1 run too many. We had the under 9.5. They finished with a score of 6-4. Dodgers win that one. Today on the mound for the Dodgers is Michael Grove, who, he has stunk. He had a decent start in his last start. I believe it was against Pittsburgh, but anyways, he went 4 innings pitched, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 3 Ks. Decent for him, right? But prior to that, he was getting knocked around, and I just can't really trust him today. Baltimore has Tyler Wells on the mound too. I'm not going to say that he really has been a stud, but he's pitching like a damn near, 100% consistent 6 innings, 2 earned runs with 4 to 5 strikeouts. That's been his MO so far, which I think can get the job done for Baltimore today. So when I say this is a slight lean, this is a slight lean towards Baltimore in this game, because I think this Dodgers team, not surprisingly to anyone, is becoming hard to bet against. Obviously, they went through their rut, but they've won 8 of their last 2 games. Now, the competition, I wouldn't say strength of schedule has been, crazy, but nonetheless, they're playing good baseball. But I don't think we can forget that this Baltimore team's playing good baseball too. So I'm going to lean lean towards Baltimore here. They are favored in this one, and obviously that's just because I think they have the better pitcher today, and as well, they're at home here. So minus 115 over on Caesars is your best value. Again, slight lean there. The lean that I like the most is going to be looking at the over 9.5, because I think that if this game goes according to plan, Tyler Wells is going to let up 2 runs like he has been, right? Baltimore's bullpen will come in, probably let up 1 to 2 more runs. That's 4 runs right there at the floor for Baltimore. I think Baltimore goes out there and gets to Michael Grove, right? So if they can go and score 6 runs, we see a floor, at least in my opinion, of what we saw yesterday, which was a 10-run game, beating that over by a half of a run there. So 6-4 is the floor in my opinion in this game. So I'm going to lean towards the over. I probably like the over just that much more than I do either side in this game, but I think this could be a spot for the Orioles to kind of bounce back from yesterday. All right, guys, before we carry on with the video, I do want to plug the merch a little bit, guys. The Fade Me brand, I love the support you guys have shown on it so far, and I do always get the question, what is Fade Me? Why is that a brand? Why is that something that you decided to stick with, Evan? It really comes from 2 places. I've talked about it in videos before, but first and foremost, it kind of came from the idea of let's have fun with sports betting, right? Like if you want to take this Fade Me brand as sort of like a, hey, if you know, you could fade me, like, or fade me, my picks are bad. Sometimes it's okay to fade yourself. Fine, that's the fun part of it, right? But where it really came from was the idea of when I decided to jump into this and sink my teeth in and really, kind of go hard at sports betting years ago, right? I'd be telling you guys on the channel, hey, these are my plays for tonight, and we got so much hate because I guess I'm not like a nerdy like no, you know what I mean? Like I just like to entertain and have a good time with the videos, so we'd get a lot of hate on my picks, and then I was like, all right, fade me. I started saying that to people in the comments, and then someone along the way was like, you should make some t-shirts that say fade me. So we did just that, and it's kind of taken on a life of its own. So I take this opportunity, I guess, to tell you guys that we do have plenty of new designs over on the store right now. These are some of the new ones right now, the Fade Me collection, and we've also reinstated and reprinted on some new blanks, which are really comfortable shirts. The Stella Fade Me, the Blue Mountain Fade Me, the Wiser Fade Me, and then also the Minster Fade Me here, guys. But yeah, go check it out. $20 t-shirt, you can't really beat that, and it's really good quality and really good designs here, guys. So make sure to go check it out. Use the link in the description or the pinned comment, and you can go ahead and pick these up, and use code FADE for 10% off. I'm not publishing that anywhere. You got to be listening with your ears right now to know that code. But yeah, definitely go check it out. It's a really good way to support me too. The amount of time that we put into this brand and sub brand of Guy Boston Sports and being Fade Me is no joke, guys. So yeah, I'm really glad that it is turning into a success, and it is something that you guys can kind of vibe with and get. So if you do want to check it out, make sure to pick up a tee. We got a bunch of other stuff on the store. That's just the Fade Me brand that I'm showing you guys there today. But yeah, go check it out, guys. It would mean a lot to me. I love the fact that you guys are messing with it right now, and I really do appreciate that. But let's get back to the slate. Go check out that. I got the link in the description as well as the pinned comment. Remember, promo code FADE. But let's get back to today's slate. All right, we got Toronto taking on the Padres. Manoah on the mound for Toronto. Not the best season so far for him. Going down, coming back up, yada, yada, yada. 5.91 record with a 2-7 win-loss and a 1.8 whip. Not exactly what you'd like to see there. He did have a decent start against Detroit, of all teams, just before the All-Star break. 6 innings pitched, 5 hits allowed, 8 strikeouts with 0 walks and 1 earned run. So you gotta love that from him. But prior to that, just was not getting the job done. Musgrove on the mound for the Padres today too. He's had, I guess, what we could consider a fairly consistent last few starts here. He's got a 3.29 ERA and 8-2 record with a 1.15 whip. But the thing is, just in this case, I'm going to trust the Orioles bats here. They have won 8 of their last 10. They've won 4 straight games in which they are just putting up a decent amount of runs now. They've had a few cakewalks of teams to play against, so I can admit that, whereas San Diego actually hasn't had the easiest of runs here. But nonetheless, I like Toronto in the direction that they're going in right now. Regardless of who's on the mound, I do think that they are starting to heat up on the offensive end here, and they bat righties really well. 261 on the season, averaging over 7 hits per 9 against righties here, and averaging, which is kind of crazy, a full home run a game against righties. So I do like to see them, and plus, especially for plus 102 odds as of right now, that's the direction we're going to lean in. Now, I will say this, if you're on San Diego's side because of the pitching, I can't really defend that. I can't. Like, okay, fine. You'll take the better pitcher, and you'll take a good team, too. Like, yes, this Padres team has been kind of in the dumps, but still in their last 10 have won 6 of their last 10. Just had a tough series against Philly, right? So I'm not really trying to talk you off of the Padres if you are on that side, because they do have the far better pitcher today. But I do think Toronto has the far better offense, so we're looking at this from an offensive perspective. And the total is sitting at 9.5 runs. If I'm thinking that Toronto's going to go out there and explode offensively, I have to imagine, right? I have to be realistic that the Padres are going to somewhat get to Manoah. So I am going to lean towards the over 9.5 in this one as well. All right, guys, I waited to talk about how the Cincy and San Francisco game was suspended yesterday. Now they have a game today. They're finishing their suspended game, I think, at like 5 o'clock Eastern time today, and then rolling right into a 7:10 or 7:20 start for this game. I'm not messing around with that today, guys. I don't know what's going to happen. You guys already know I have like a phobia for whatever dumb reason of double headers, never mind a game rolling right into a game. So I'm going to stick away from this one. I don't love the idea of them finishing a game and having like an hour and change off and jumping right into a game. Both teams have been kind of hidden about what they're doing with pitching heading into this and whatnot for the second game. So I am just going to stick away from it. I think that this is such a fadeable spot just because it's like, this is kind of weird, right? Like, you don't have to force something in a very peculiar situation. So unfortunately, we are going to skip past this game. If you had a gun to my head and you needed to pull the trigger, I would still lean towards Cincinnati. And I don't even know what happens with, I actually have to check out my bet slip there. I don't know what happens with my Reds plus 1.5 from yesterday. So maybe we end up having a 3-3 night, not a 2-3 night, if that bet still cashes or if it gets voided. I'm not actually sure what happens with that. So yeah, we all learned something new today. But yeah, I hope you guys understand. And also, like, I would encourage you guys to think the same way. It's like, what is the true benefit of betting on this second game here when it's kind of like, what the heck's happening today, right? They're going to play the rest of the game. They had to play some of the game yesterday, now some of the game today, and then they're rolling into another game. It's just too weird for me to put my own money on. So yeah, I'm skipping past this one. Apologies for that. All right, guys, before we get into the Mets Chicago White Sox game here, go ahead and drop 16 in the comments if you're still watching. If you're a real OG, if you're a real one, drop 16 for the Guppies. I don't know if you guys caught that at the end of yesterday's video, but I accidentally, I guess, just slipped and called all the people that are like, why are you commenting 16? I was like, you guys are Guppies. And I think it's a funny word, so you guys seem to mess with that in the comments as well. I saw a couple Guppy comments yesterday, so you either comment 16, but if you want to be a real one, comment 16 for the Guppies, because I really do love it. I don't know why I get such like a pleasure in that. Every time I see a comment being like, what the heck's with all these 16 comments? I'm just like, it's such an if you know, you know. Like, I'm just simply saying comment a number at some point in the video, and some people are like getting mad at it. And I'm like, dude, it's not your comments, chill out. But nonetheless, guys, go ahead and comment that if you're still watching right now. We got the Mets taking on the White Sox here, and I'm going to lean towards this White Sox team who took 2 of 3 against Atlanta, which is kind of crazy, right? But I will say this, it's not necessarily that I'm backing the White Sox, but I am going to fade Carlos Carrasco here. 5.16 ERA with a 3-3 record and 1.43 whip. Going up against Frozen Yogurt Giolito here on the mound for the White Sox, 3.45 ERA, a 6-5 record with a 1.14 whip. Again, I'm kind of fading the Mets pitching here, so give me the White Sox for plus 102 odds over on FanDuel right now. In terms of the total 9 runs, this one's tough for me because neither one of these teams are trending in that sort of high scoring. Well, I guess you could say the White Sox are the last 2 games against Atlanta, so fair, they scored a couple runs, in those 2 games, but nonetheless, prior to that, they weren't really scoring a bunch of runs. The Mets in the last 10 games, 3-6-1 to the over, and the same thing for the White Sox, 3-7 in the last 10 to the over. But I don't think either one of these pitchers are studs today, so I'm gonna lean towards the over 9 runs in this one, but keep an eye on the pinned comment to see if we actually make any final plays on this game. It's a little weird, but I could see the value on the White Sox today, even if you do think the Mets are starting to play a little bit better. Yes, they had a bad stretch, but still have won 6 of their last 10, right? So you could make the argument that, well, they're a better team than the White Sox, but I don't think the pitching is really equivalent today. I actually do think that the White Sox are trotting out the better arm, so I lean in that direction as well as the over. But again, it's not the most cemented lean of history, you know what I mean? So keep an eye on the pinned comment, see if we roll with anything there. Atlanta taking on Arizona here. Atlanta trotting out Bryce Elder with a 7-2 record, a 1.2 whip with a 2.97 ERA. You have to imagine Atlanta bounces back and wins this one after losing 2 straight to Chicago. The only issue is that they're at minus 205 over on DK right now. So I do lean towards Atlanta. I might consider them on the run line, but they haven't been the best of run line teams. But nonetheless, my main lean in this game, which is kind of crazy because I rarely do this, but I'm going to lean towards the over 10.5 runs. I think that Atlanta is going to come out there and score a bunch of runs today, just due to the fact that they have been dormant for, I guess you could make the argument, 2 of their last, or I would say 3 of their last 5 games, right? Even dating back to the last game, or even the game 1 of that Tampa Bay series. So this Atlanta team hasn't strung together a couple really high scoring games in back-to-back in a while. So I think that they kind of jumped to a good start here against Davies, who definitely is no stranger to letting up runs. 6.37 ERA with a 1.53 whip, and he's been letting up runs against worse teams. Pittsburgh, he let up 3 earned runs through like 5 innings, I believe, in his last start. And then against the Mets, he let up 6 earned runs, or 4 earned runs, I believe, through 6 innings. So fact check those if you want to, but nonetheless, his last 2 starts let up a decent amount of runs, and I think that Atlanta carries the weight today. But this Arizona offense, I also don't want to kind of miss what they've done. They did score 5 runs in the last game against Toronto. They scored 7 runs at one point against the Pirates, so maybe they can contribute, but I really do think that this is going to be an Atlanta sort of one-sided affair, one-sided swing in terms of scoring a bunch of runs today, which if the Arizona Diamondbacks can give us like 3 runs, I think that the Braves come out there and score a bunch. So I like the Braves here. Not going to consider them on the money line, but I can consider them for minus 1.5 run line there, as well as the over 10.5. You can get it at 10 on some sports books. I don't have access to those sports books, but if you can get it at 10, no kidding, pull the trigger there. All right, we don't know who is pitching for Miami here. We have St. Louis trotting out Montgomery. The total, though, we do have some odds here. The total is sitting at 8 runs, and St. Louis is at minus 145 on the money line here. I think that I lean towards the Marlins again. Yeah, they kind of got their doors kicked in yesterday. It was a 6-4 finish, but depends on obviously who is going to start for them. I think Sandy Alcantara is pitching tomorrow. I think that's already slated, so we'll see who ends up pitching for the Marlins. It's not like I trust many of those, Jesus Luzardo went yesterday. I guess they do have a couple guys in the tank here, so we'll see who pitches for them. I'm going to lean towards them just from the money there at plus 136. I don't really love St. Louis at minus 145, but obviously we want to know who's pitching for them before we consider anything. I don't hate the over almost regardless who is pitching, so we could consider the over in this game, over 8 runs as well. All right, Chicago taking on Washington. We did just get pitchers here. We have Jameson Talon on the mound for the Cubs, and Corbin on the mound for the Nationals here. The Cubs are minus 170 on the money line, and the total is sitting at 9 runs. I feel like the Cubs have to bounce back after yesterday. We obviously lost that one. Washington went out to a big lead, kept the lead, even though the Cubs kind of fought back, but minus 170 is a little bit too much to consider for me here, so I'm going to lean towards the Cubs, but I don't think that becomes a final play. In terms of the total 9 runs here, I like the over because obviously Talon has a high ERA and a high whip, so I think Washington actually can score a decent amount of runs against them today, but the Cubs bat lefties really well, batting 260 on the year against lefties, so I think they have a chance to score a decent amount of runs too, so I could see this being a double-digit game today like it was yesterday, so I'm going to lean towards the over. That's probably something I'm more comfortable with than laying a minus 170 juice over on the Cubs, but I do think this is a Cubs bounce back spot. All right, Tampa Bay cashes as underdogs for us yesterday. They win that one 3-2 for plus 113. We will certainly take that. In fact, let's just ching it. But we got them going up against Tampa Bay again today. Tampa Bay just really in the you-know-what right now. And I don't think it gets better for them today. Nathan Eovaldi on the mound for the Texas Rangers. You guys know how much I really do like him. Being a Red Sox fan too, I really wish that they kept him. He's got a 2.83 ERA, 10-3 win-loss with a 1.02 whip. Going up against Taj Bradley, who is no schlup, right? He's a good pitcher, but not on Nate Eovaldi's level. So I'm going to lean towards Texas in this one. Minus 135. I wish we didn't really have to pull the trigger on that price because you're still betting against a team that should be maybe the best team in the league in the Rays, right? The Rays just have not really put it together as of late. So a little weird there, but at some point, they gotta wake up. Like, at some point the Rays have to wake up. I don't think it'll be today though. I hope it's not, because I do like Texas's side of this thing, and I do love backing Nate Eovaldi. In terms of the total, 9 runs. Yesterday it was 3-2. We had Dane Dunning and Shane McClanahan on the mound. 2 good pitchers again today. Yes, these offenses are so great, but I am gonna lean towards the under, because I think that these are 2 teams that recognize, it's like real recognize real, and they're kind of grinding it out almost like it is a playoff type series, right? Like, this is a spot where both these teams are fighting to get there, and like has that vibe. And I think that runs end up being a little bit lower, run totals end up being a little lower in those types of games where, you know, the pitching has the pressure on each at bat, each pitch matters that much more. And yeah, maybe it's early in the year, I could see that obviously, but I still think that both these teams recognize how good each other are. So I'm gonna lean towards Texas in this one, and then also the under. Oh, we got must-watch TV, just like last night, an instant classic between Kansas City and Detroit. Lynch on the mound for Kansas City here. Scubai on the mound for Detroit. I'm going to look at the over here. That's just about it. It's sitting at 8.5 runs right now. Yesterday was 3-2. The only reason I'm looking at the over is because I do think that these pitchers can get batted around, but damn, I doubt these become final plays. Just like I told you guys yesterday, this is just like a series in which, as a sports bettor and as a bettor that likes to think about the bets they're throwing in, why on God's green earth would I look at this and say, I gotta bet on this series? So if you guys are betting on Kansas City and Detroit, man, oh man, you're a psycho. I love you for it, but you are a damn psycho. All right, Colorado taking on Houston. I imagine Houston's going to be huge favorites here. We don't know who's pitching for Colorado, so we don't have a money line or a total right now, but I think Houston's probably some sort of a parlay play with Hunter Brown on the mound for them. Then also that total's going to be up there, 11.5, 12, 11, that type of thing. I'm going to lean towards the under because we've just continued to cash most of those. So they took 2 of 3 in terms of cashing. They took 2 of those 3 against the Yankees there. I still do love the fact this Colorado team is such an under team that even in Colorado, they're cashing more unders than they are over. So screw the altitude. You still got to hit the wood on the ball, guys. And Colorado is not good at doing that. I don't see why they would be good at doing that against Hunter Brown in today's game either. So yeah, I guess I just lean slightly towards whoever starts for Colorado. Doesn't really matter. I lean slightly towards the Houston Astros, but I doubt that becomes a final play. And if it is an 11.5 total, 12 run total, I like the under. All right, we got the Angels taking on the Yankees. Mickey Moniak did not come through for us yesterday. Loved that spot too, from good odds, and the odds even got worse throughout the day, so I was like, yeah, we jumped on it. But he doesn't come through for us. That was our play in that game yesterday. It is a loss. Domingo Germán on the mound for the Yankees today, going up against Sandoval here. Germán's got a 4.32 ERA, 5-5 win-loss with a 1.07 whip. And a perfect game this year, by the way. And Sandoval's got a 4.4 ERA with a 4-7 record with a 1.47 whip. Here, the Yankees are going up against a lefty. They don't really fare too well against lefties, but I think that this is going to be a series in which we kind of see a little bit of back and forth here. So I'm going to take the Yankees in this one for -110 odds. I don't buy into the Sandoval side of things right now. So though I'm kind of telling you guys this Yankees team, they don't bat lefties all that well, I do think that they're going to go out there and at least have the better pitcher on the mound. I think Germán can hopefully hold this Angels team down. Since the perfect game, I wouldn't say that he's been bad per se, just obviously not perfect, but that start afterwards, I think he went out there and pitched only like 4 innings, but he bounced back against the Cubs in his last start. 6 innings pitched, only 1 hit allowed, 1 earned run, 2 runs came in with 9 Ks, so Germán still should be feeling it. I like the pitcher in this spot against the Angels, but I am kind of giving you guys that information and that caveat that, by the way, Yankees don't bat lefties all that well. So if you want to fade that pick, go ahead. I still do think that they have the better pitcher today, so that's what we're going to lean towards. In terms of the total 9.5, hate to do it to you guys, but legitimately no say on this total. Like, I don't have a read or a vibe for it. 7 runs yesterday, way different pitchers on the mound today. So unfortunately, I hate to do it to you guys. I don't have a pick on the total of this game. All right, Oakland taking on Boston. We don't have a total or any money line or run line odds here yet because Boston has not announced their starter. Bayo and Paxton are going for the next 2 games here, so it's not going to be either one of them, and that kind of makes sense. Why do you need to go out there and run one of your good starters against this Oakland team? So I'm assuming Boston's going to be heavy favorites again, but even yesterday, they were only like -155 as closing odds, so I don't really even hate that. So if they're in the -150s after winning 7-0 yesterday, Pivetta coming out of the pen looking good, like, I think this is a Red Sox team that, yes, they're playing a bad team, but they still won 8 of their last 10 games, and they haven't had the hardest of competition. But if you go back to 7 games ago, they took 2 of 3 against Texas. Like, this Red Sox team goes in waves, and right now it's a winning wave. So I lean towards the Red Sox if it's anywhere near that -140 to -150 type of range. Then in terms of the total, we saw 7 runs scored yesterday, but an 8.5 total. If it's at 8.5 again, I guess I would lean towards the over, because though the Oakland A's stink, I can't imagine them scoring 0 runs again. So a lot of hypotheticals there, as we don't know who's pitching for the Sox, and we also don't have lines to go off of. But nonetheless, I kind of give you guys what I'm thinking if these lines were to come out. But as always, keep an eye on the pinned comment, like I say a million times in every video, if you do want to see what we're actually rolling with in that game, if we end up rolling with anything. All right, Seattle taking on Minnesota. You guys could watch yesterday's video. I was so close to pulling the trigger on the Twins yesterday. I'm glad I didn't, because they end up losing 7-6, but obviously a pretty close game there as Sonny Gray went up against Logan Gilbert. Today we got Brian on the mound for Seattle, and then we got Bailey Ober on the mound for the Twins. I'm actually going to trust Bailey Ober. He's the better pitcher here. I do like what Woo has done in plenty, or I shouldn't say plenty of, but a few starts this season. I do like Bailey Ober, though, over him today, and the fact that you're giving me the Twins, who bat righties better than Seattle does, and both these pitchers are righties. Ever so slightly bat righties better. I won't kind of, blow too much smoke up there, but nonetheless, give me the Twins here for +110 odds. I still think that there's value there. And then in terms of the total, 7.5. Something about that is kind of skeeving me out here. I want to look into the weather. I don't have that up in my notes, so apologies there, but 7.5, super low total. I could see this one going under, just because that is a total that's set so low. Yesterday's game, though, was set at 7, right? It was a 13 total game at the end of the game, 7-6. So we'll keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on the pin comp. But yeah, my main lean in this game is going to be Minnesota. And guys, that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys so much if you made it to this part in the video. Like, that is so crazy to me still. But yeah, we're getting up early doing these things every single day. So if you're hearing these words and watching this part of the video, seriously, thank you. Like, thank you so damn much. I cannot even begin to explain how thankful I am, other than being able to say it multiple times. It just kind of seems corny at some points, but nonetheless, guys, hopefully you guys do enjoy the video. Hit that subscribe button if you are new, hit that like button, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. All right, peace out.